Hello, and welcome to the journey. I am Reverend Bobby, and today I have with me my St. Emma Military Academy brother and also Morehouse College brother, Mr. Bruce Dobbs. My face is just smiling. How are you doing, Bruce?
Well, you look, first of all, my motto is every day is a holiday slash holy day, and every meal is a feast. So
There,
I'm
there,
having a ball.
there goes my preaching job, y'all. Like you just can't have nothing for yourself. But listen, while we're on this holiday holy day with Bruce, make sure to log on to the channel Gospel of Robert, capital GOSPELOF, capital ROBERT. Put the at sign in front. First thing to do is subscribe so you'll get notifications and won't miss anything when we newly post. And second, you can click on the live category and view previously posted segments of the journey. And you don't want to miss that. So, Bruce,
Yes,
tell
sir.
the people a little bit about you, bring me up to date, what drives you, and all those good things.
Jeez. What drives me?
Yeah, what
Well,
drives you?
well, you know, I mean, I think it is. As I grow older, I've come to understand that there are just some basic pieces of life's puzzle that we need to look to, or at least that I've used to kind of guide me. And I like the title of this podcast because we all have a journey.
Yeah,
Everybody's got everybody's got a journey,
yeah.
and there are pieces of the puzzle in the journey that we have got to, and I can't say we have got to, but there are
You,
pieces of
you,
the,
you, you can say it because we can decode you
yeah,
and
okay, great,
understand what you mean.
right, and this is my philosophy. The first thing that I think is that uh, people need to have a philosophy about life.
Mhm.
You have to have something to guide you in terms of how you are going to go about conducting your life. Now, you basically there, in my opinion, there are five major pieces of life's puzzle. You have got a spiritual piece. You've got your family piece. You've got your financial piece. Uh, you've got your physical piece, your health. Watching out for your health, and you have your recreation. You have to have a good time. You got to let the good times roll.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
And I've let the good times roll quite a bit. But 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 when you look at these five pieces, um, we may be on different parts of the journey at different times,
Yeah.
in our life.
Yeah.
So your financial piece might be running ahead of your spiritual piece, or um, your physical, your health piece might be running in front of your family piece, or you may be neglecting recreation time for yourself. So you ask me, what am I doing? I'm living my life like it's golden.
Well, that's a good thing because living it is important because life is full of activity
Hmm.
and it's full of those things and those five areas of life could not be more succinct as describing those pieces that we try to those pieces that we work toward pulling together and having them work in union with one another. And how important do you think that is for the fulfillment piece of our life?
Well, it's all important because once we realize that in life that you are going to have trials and tribulations in all of these five pieces, there is not a person on earth that does not have some type of challenge somewhere along these five roads. So, you might have at one time, you may have a physical challenge that you need to overcome, but your finances are just running crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Or you may have the opposite, you may have your finances low, and then but your health is really good.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a person on earth that that does not meet with some type of adversity at some point in your life.
The foundational scripture for my ministry when I first established eating from the tree of life is Revelation 2:7. To he who overcomes, I will give to eat from the tree of life,
Mm-hmm.
which is in the midst of the paradise of God, which means we're here to overcome these things and do better in each area of life. And what are some of the things that you, Bruce, in your philosophy, have used to overcome those bumps in the road, if you will?
Okay. Now see. Now here we go. You
Here we
pull it out.
go.
Here we go.
Here
See,
we go.
a lot of people do not know that I've got a doctorate in divinity. A lot of people don't know that. I bought it, but I got it.
Well, now you didn't buy it because even in that there's some semblance of having the aptitude toward it. So 4 years, in school you buy it,
Hey,
and go to class. So
precisely.
don't slight yourself. Continue, and I didn't know neither. Now you're on my list.
Well, you asked me what have I used to overcome. In when I talk to people, I talk to a lot of people about faith.
Mm-hmm.
You know, faith, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And to me, faith is the most important thing that one could have or should have if one wants to go forward and be successful in life. And no matter how you define success,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta have faith.
But the faith is the how would you say, the building block, the beginning building block for all things.
Precisely.
Because that faith takes you to a trust in God,
That's right.
where you know within yourself everything is cool, everything is all right. Just continue to execute in the manner that you know that you should. And how important is it to have that faith as that grounded piece
Oh,
in your
well,
life?
let me put it this way. It's extremely important in your life, and it's extremely important after your life.
Mm-hmm.
I I joke. I have a relative who has passed on, and he was an agnostic. He didn't believe in anything.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't believe. I mean, he just didn't. He just did not. He didn't believe. He had no faith. He didn't believe in God. He didn't believe in evil. He didn't. And they had his funeral in a funeral home, and he was dressed impeccably at the funeral home. But I looked at him, and the sad thing is that although he was all dressed up, he had no place to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
In the Catholic Church, they might say purgatory, where you just hang out for a minute.
Yeah. So but you ask how important is it? It is extremely important. It's to me, it's one of the master keys.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is being able to take action, mm-hmm. to step out on your faith. And there is a difference between believing and having faith. There's a you can believe, but unless you take action, unless you step out, and it may be scary, you're not gonna, things aren't gonna happen for you.
Yeah.
And the other thing is to recognize that things may not happen on your timeline.
There you go.
Okay. It's like, okay, because sometimes not getting what you want right away is a blessing.
Absolutely.
And I've had that happen to me. It's like, whoa, yeah, I'm glad that didn't go.
Yeah.
So but you asked me, well, what am I doing now? Yeah, I'm still in the finance business. I've been in the finance business since 1987. I'm still managing money for people. I'm managing portfolios. If you would like me to manage your money, my minimum now is $500,000. Mm-hmm. Come to me with your $500,000, I can help you. Mm-hmm. Come with me with a little less, I'm going to help you anyway.
Yeah,
that's where I am.
But you have more liability with 500,000 to disperse and do different things.
Yeah. So my minimum is 500,000, mm-hmm. And I also put people together, help business owners sell their firms, and help business owners raise capital for the firms, because a lot of, I find a lot of business owners just do not understand the whole, the mechanics of finance, the mechanics of money,
of how money works. Yeah.
Oh, look, I tell you, the worst thing Merrill Lynch could have done was to let somebody like me in the door. Okay.
Now, I don't think that. I think it's a good thing.
Well, like Malcolm X said, one of the mistakes is like, look, if one of the mistakes they had for me is that he knew how to read, and so, well, you see here, I've got a library in my house, so I'm sitting in my library.
Yeah.
And I jokingly say that because before I got to Merrill Lynch, I was successful before I got to Merrill Lynch, but I did not really understand the mechanics of money and what money really does, and how it flows, and how it moves, and sector rotations. And it took a while, it took a while. When I first got to Merrill Lynch, there were people that came in and they had like, $50,000, $60,000. I said to myself, ooh, gee whiz, they $50,000, $60,000, liquid, stuff like that. And I thought that for maybe an hour and a half, until somebody rolls in with 100,000.
Right.
And then, somebody rolls in, and then you get, I had clients, they've got, $700,000, $800,000 that they forgot about.
Yeah.
You know what? I got $700,000 over here that I forgot. Can you help me with this? You know,
Mhm.
and look, you know, Bobby, we went to St. Emma Military Academy, Morehouse, and not many of us, or not the whole of our parents, didn't have that type of money lying around.
No, and some of us still don't have that type of money. But we have access to things to leverage.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
precisely. Yeah,
back and forth.
yeah,
But
precisely.
with that kind of money and helping people financially and those kinds of things, and I know the knowledge factor with you is like boo because I know the kind of guy that you are. How fulfilling is that to help people do these things with their businesses and also forecasting future movements in the market?
Oh, it is extremely fulfilling. I've mentored many young men who are now and women
Yeah,
who are now extremely successful, and it's just it just warms my heart because they keep in touch, and they say, "Look, Bruce, if I hadn't listened to you, you know, my life would have been different." So I thank you. And that's all I require is that you take it upon yourself to get out there and do it. And now and you don't have to have a college education. It's nice to have but you don't have to have college education. My father used to tell me, he said, "Look, yeah, you over here at Morehouse," and my father went to Morehouse too. He said, "Yeah,
yeah,
you over
and
here at
to
Morehouse."
yeah,
He says, "But never let school get in the way of your education."
right.
You know, school and education, different things. We were in school together. We had some people who were just stone fools. They didn't know.
Absolutely,
Yeah, yeah. And we had some professors who were fools.
absolutely. But one of the things I tell people about life and stuff when they get jammed up is the life rules.
Hmm.
Number one, it takes all kinds to make a world, and number two, everybody makes mistakes sometimes.
That's correct.
So if you hold these couple of things, you can move through the overcomings and that kind of thing. But back to earlier on when you were talking about the put it in practice, the execution, to step out onto the playing field to
Hmm.
play. Does that take a special type of person, or do they just sometimes need a nudge to jump out into the um, big
Well,
game?
I think what has to happen is, and for a lot of people, um, it gets to a point where some people become sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Mm-hmm.
and um, they may go along, willy nilly. They may just kind of guide along, but at some point, they make a decision. A decision to act. Once they make that, Howard Thurman talks about that.
Yeah,
A decision to act,
yeah,
and that decision to act wakes one up. It stabs one awake, and then once that decision to act comes into being, you're off. And that now the other thing is to recognize that people are not necessarily going to, if you have an idea, people are not necessarily going to say, "Oh yeah, come on, it's your, you got a great idea, I'm gun ho." You're going to have some people who are, as we call, haters. You're gonna have haters. Okay, here we go.
absolutely, absolutely,
And you're gonna have enemies.
absolutely.
You know that poem. You have no enemies, you say. Alas, my friend, the boast is poor. Those who mingle in the fray The brave endure, must have foe. If you have none, small is the work that you have done.
Yeah.
You've cast no cup from Persia's lip. You hit no traitor on the hip. You've never turned a wrong to right. You've been a coward in the fight.
Pretty much, because, but the opposition, as it comes before you, um, I don't know about hater. I know that sometimes people want to do as you do or be like you or that kind of stuff, and don't have the necessary skills and kind of that kind of stuff. So if they are hater, they're hating on themselves. But the like you said, you have to have some type of opposition because it helps you sharpen the knife, doesn't it? It helps
Absolutely.
you become master of what you are pursuing to do, does it not?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Here again, this is one of the reasons why I think it's so important to to read and also step out on faith, because you're going to get look. It's like everybody. I've had some failures. I've had some. What is it? Frank Sinatra said, "I've been up and down and over and out." And I know one thing. When I find myself flat on my face, I just pick myself up and get back in the race.
In the race, yeah.
And that ability to have perseverance and resilience, and know that that joy will come in the morning.
Yeah.
But it takes time. It takes time to get there. Spiritually, it takes time to get there.
Well, like everything else, it's a muscle.
Yeah.
That you have to exercise, and spiritually, it's on kind of a different plane than what we could taste, touch, see, hear, and feel. So you kind of gotta tip along until that faith.
That's right. You're
Kicks in,
right.
so you can trust because it's all inside of you, the whole roadmap and everything. If you take the time to see it, how come we're so easily influenced by outer things, Bruce?
Well, I think that we have to understand that there are forces that benefit themselves by leading us to think about different things. And for an example, when we watch the news, it's very interesting that all of the news stations have the same news, in a different way. Yeah. Because they're telling you, the news stations are telling you what they think is important.
Yeah, because it forms opinion, it leads public opinion, it sways in a certain way. Because if you don't have a strong mind, you buy into anything.
Oh, absolutely. There's a book that Noam Chomsky wrote, and it's called Manufacturing Consent. And I would strongly urge listeners to pick that up. Okay. And it talks about how, and you see it here, how can we, or how is it that one can manufacture consent as a product?
Yeah.
In other words, how can we get a group of people to believe this particular way? How can we manufacture that? And we've seen the manufacture of consent over these last years exponentially.
We're living in the midst of it. Right now, and it's very interesting. But the deal is, it's like, for me, nothing's new under the sun. In fact, one day in my meditation early in the morning, I said, God, this is textbook, man. I said, but I don't have the resources to go up against it.
Yeah.
And you know what God said?
What's that?
But you got me.
That's right.
Listen, change the whole total aspect. So each and everybody does the each and everything that they could do if it's just, your consciousness and rearranging your thinking so you can walk as an example to others, because there's just so much stuff out here for people to buy into. And one of the things I've been noticing is some of my friends my age I grew up with are saying how naive they were, growing up and that kind of stuff. And I kind of took exception to it because our parents put us in situational stuff where a lot of these things weren't at the forefront of our lives because we grew up in the black neighborhood, Boy Scouts, and that kind of stuff.
Precisely.
And it's not ignorance or naivete. And how do we, you and I still, because we're still on a mission, touch that part of people and like at the end of, what was it, the end of school days where fish hollering, wake up! Because it's still some people dozing. I'm not going to say they dozing, but not using the capacity of their mind and ability to think like they're able to. What we can do to jumpstart them, Brucey?
Well, I think we have to continue to speak out. You and I and a number of other African and American men have had a unique experience in that we attended St. Emma Military Academy in Powhatan, Virginia, 23139.
I know it, man, by heart, man.
But this was an all-black African American military high school, started in 1895, and Reverend Bobby and I, that's where we met. On the black top.
On the black top.
On the black, and he was an upperclassman, so he didn't speak to me for 6 months until I got my torches,
That's not
that's another story.
That was just the game that we played at the time.
Yeah, that's another story. But I say that because having had that experience with Father Figaro, who was an African American priest at that time, the older I get, the more I appreciate Father Figaro. We called him Fig.
Fig, yeah.
Because he put in us the drive for service.
Yeah.
He exemplified that drive for service. So here you have people like you and me having gone 4 years to an African American military high school with an African American commandant priest who was wearing African robes, back and catching hell from the Catholic Church back in the 60s. And then to go from there to Morehouse. We
used to call Morehouse Social Justice University.
It's like, we were ready. It's like, okay, so, but I think people need to recognize. So it's not only us. There are people who are leaders that you don't see on television. So you've got leaders in the communities that don't have a basketball behind them and whatnot. These are the true leaders, and people don't understand that.
Well, it's just that they don't get a chance to be exposed to it and see it. My scoutmaster, man, he molded many men. Jeremiah Wright. The church started up in the neighborhood with 8 of my friends, and the scouts' parents and mothers and stuff. And this is, and in the neighborhoods, man, we grew up, my teacher lived around the street. You at the food, they was at Miss Pillow's, fence. my
Mm-hmm.
mama, my teachers, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and all these people sitting there gabbing. So you couldn't act a fool, but this is how our communities were. And these are
Absolutely.
some of the things that, you know, at another time we'll discuss when we talk about the finances and how they left out our community, and we ended up in a different state. But listen, a half hour went real quick, man.
Oh, it did. Okay.
But listen, I know I got you on the hook for some more as we go on. I'm seeing
Okay.
how everything adjusts. But listen, for the people, real quick, something to hold on to that's transferable across those 5 areas that'll keep them going, help them overcome. Give them something.
You know, it is very simple. What I'll close with what I said, and I also want to give a shout out to our sisters out there, because there's some sisters out there that are doing some incredible things.
Oh, incredible, man!
Just really incredible things. But once you realize that every day is a holy day / holiday, and that every meal is a feast. People talk about some down times. How can you appreciate the sun if you've never seen the rain? That's it.
That's it. Well,
That's
thank
it.
you, man. Listen. We love doing this, y'all. So listen. Remember, Gospel of Robert, capital GOSPELOF, capital ROBERT. Put the @ in front. Click on the live. Look at previously posted segments of the journey, and they come on 8:00 every Central Time every Thursday. So from Bruce, my St. Emma military school buddy, and myself, we demand, we ask, and we pray that you journey well from here. Adios. Tell people bye, Bruce.
Adios. All right.